Hey everybody, so this is my experience with 10 grams of psilocybin. I affectionately call this experience the Heartsong Journey. It is the trip that I will never forget. It's the gift that keeps on giving. The 10-gram psilocybin trip. First of all, why? Why would anybody do that much mushrooms? Well, if you're watching this video, you're probably already familiar with the 5-gram dose. Psychonauts like Terence McKenna have coined the phrase the hero's dose. This is 5 grams, at least 5 grams. It's the dose from which it's thought that you kind of have the ego death experience. You're getting into traveling through space-time. Some people have experiences of meeting other cosmic beings, God, source, whatever you want to call it. But that's why, with the 10-gram dose for me, I started trying them at 5 grams, never anything less. And I did it because I felt like I had lingering postpartum from making the transition into motherhood, and I was looking for a way to let go, release, a breakthrough. The trip itself, the trip comes on slowly, a little bit at a time. I was actually surprised at how gentle this 10-gram experience was. The particular mushrooms that I used at the time were golden teachers, which I think are naturally a little bit more gentle. This 10-gram experience was one of the most gentle, beautiful experiences I've ever had on mushrooms. So the first thing that happens in a mushroom trip is you're going to start to have the physical experience. For me, it starts in my gut, in my womb as a tingling feeling, and then it just starts to spread throughout my whole body. And that's when I know I need to lay down, get prepared to be up out of here. Set and setting is really important when you're traveling on mushrooms. Mushroom tripping is said to be the journey of self into self. It's not something that is typically done in a group setting. It's not communal like San Pedro or ayahuasca. It really is you going into the inner universe of your own mind, your own consciousness. So the beginning of it's a feeling of like, first you become like ultra aware of your physical reality. I go through a space that is, but it isn't. It's like machine-like, but also alien feeling to it. And every time I'm going through it, that's when I remember, oh yeah, this part. It's not scary, but it's so outside of your experience of normal reality that can be a little bit jarring or disconcerting. So it's the melting through multiple dimensions with this trip as well, the 10-gram trip. And then for me, the next thing I remember is arriving in a space where I felt like I was hearing directly from the universe, like, you made it, you cracked the code, you figured it out, like, welcome to the other side, basically. And the code that I had cracked was coming into the knowledge that I am infinite. We are all infinite. There is no death. There is no end to life. Never. Only a transition, or as Abraham Hicks would put it, like you're getting out of one vehicle into another vehicle. There is no end. And I just remember the feeling of it radiating throughout my body. And it was hilarious too at the time. Like, all this time I had put so much emphasis and concern on life and death and all these things, and come to find out there is no death. You are infinite. That was the first part. And I sensed, though never saw at this time, my best friend and her sister were there, kind of also as guides, welcome me over to the other side of consciousness, reality, existence. I also sensed 2 other presences, which were Kalindi Iyi, who was alive at the time, but has since transitioned. He's now an ancestor on the other side. And this experience maybe was a year or a little bit over a year before he actually transitioned. I saw him on the other side. And he was there with Octavia Butler, who is one of my all-time favorite science fiction writers, or writers, period. And then I look and can perceive, except for, of course, I'm not seeing anything because I'm not using my eyes at all, that I'm in this city in space. And of course, that's what life is. And you look up that space, but more of a, like where you're seeing nebula and galaxies and things like that. Like it was like a city in space in the future. And I'd always had this vision in my actual life of building intentional community. And what I was receiving from, let's just call it the universe, you've done it. It may not look how you thought it would look, like everybody living on the land together, but you've dropped these seeds of interconnectedness, and these people, they are your community. This is your tribe, and you guys are in an intergalactic space city, always, on the spaceship Earth. From there was like the experience of birthing. All of a sudden, I'm pregnant and I'm giving birth right now. And the experience of that, the guides or the universe is telling me, don't worry about anything. It's going to be easier than you ever imagined. And I'll do you one better. It's going to be ecstatic. This thing that you're birthing, it's going to be ecstatic. No, seriously, it's going to be easier than that, easier than what you're thinking. You're not going to have to do anything. All you're going to have to do is be yourself right on into everything that you're manifesting. And they were expressing this through the experience of giving birth in this moment, but it was speaking to my waking life. Like, no, all you're gonna have to do is be, I promise you. And the feeling of it was so ecstatic. And I remember I was crying and laughing because the universe is so funny. Like they serve it to you how you like to receive it. The feeling of it was it was hilarious. It was ecstatic. And I could just feel the glow, the light of it all radiating, building up inside of me. Like, no, seriously, it's going to be even better than you ever imagined, even easier than you ever imagined it could be. And it's just going to get better and better and better and better. From there, the experience kind of morphed, and I could see everyone that I know currently and everyone that I have known kind of in a circle, connected. I remember specifically seeing families and children in the community that I'm in Oakland, and old friends I haven't seen or spoken to in years, family members I haven't seen or spoken to in years. Everybody was there. And there was a rainbow waterfall. And again, it was just like in space, all of this happening in space. And then there was this song, and I call it the Heartsong. And I wasn't just hearing it, we were the song. All people, all things in existence. And then I realized that this song was radiating from our hearts. It was a song that we were co-creating with love from our thoughts and from the energy of our hearts. One song, the most beautiful song that you could ever hear, and it was infinite, and it was never the same. Like the song never repeated. It was a song that was overwhelmingly, devastatingly beautiful. And this is a song that we were creating as one collective energy, the collective consciousness of us all creating this beautiful song that would never end from our hearts. And I could feel it. I could feel us creating the song from our hearts. And it just kept rising. the feeling of love and rising and growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And we were just in ecstasy, all of us, you, me, everything in existence, creating this song that never ended. And it just went up and up and up in love until I assume we crescendo into an explosion of ecstatic love. And that was the gift of that. The knowledge that as humanity, we are one, we are a collective. And in this time, our consciousness is rising. And the experience of us coming together, it's happening, and it's happening more rapidly. Even though it feels like we are farther apart, there are people on the planet who are tapped into this frequency of love, and it is just an unstoppable energy. You can't get it wrong. We're all going in the same direction. Like, everybody ascends, everybody gets to the experience of living love, being love together forever. It is our destiny, and we're on the path. We're doing it right now. There was another part of the experience that I remember after the Heartsong crescendo of ecstatic love. I was with my soulmate partners, and we were these cosmic beings, meaning like we were as large as the cosmos at one point, and we were just playing with reality, playing with galaxies. It was the knowing that we kind of incarnate into whatever experience that we want, and we are God experiencing itself as all that is. So essentially, every single experience that you can have in life, you're gonna have and want to have. You want to experience being every single type of thing. And so in this part of the trip, we are like, hey, well, what if we were planets together, in a solar system for one whole lifetime? What if we are stars for one whole lifetime? What if we are just like water? What if we're just math, man? What if we're just mathematics? What if we're just numbers for one whole lifetime, and then actually getting to experience what that feels like? But one thing I remember coming out is this eternal flower that is ever blooming and receiving from the universe the knowledge that we incarnate into this physical, and we do it. We always start at a point that is completely blank. Like, we choose to forget the experience of awakening over and over and over again, just so that we can remember it. Just because the experience of remembering self, where you come from, your true nature as pure energy, pure light, pure love, we choose to forget that just because the remembering is so good. It's so ecstatic that we choose to do it over and over and over again. I know sometimes in this life, we may feel like, man, I hope I get it. I hope I get it all in this life, because I'm never coming back to this peace. And that could be true for some of us. I really don't know that part. Maybe you're not coming back. For me, I feel like once I started opening to the experience of nirvana right here, right now, I started to feel like, yeah, I would come back and I would do this same exact life over and over again, just to see how many different ways, how many different paths I could take, because it's all good. It's all good in all directions. It's all wonderful. So that's kind of the experience of the trip. My takeaways from it were: one, we're infinite. There's no death. There's no end. This is the heart song. It is a beautiful symphony that we're co-creating together, and it never begins and it never ends, and it's never going to be the same. This is all just one big now that's happening. The second thing that I take away from that trip experience is the feeling of that heart song, the feeling of being connected not only to source, but to all living things, all things in existence, one collective consciousness, one heart, one song. The feeling of it was so incredibly beautiful it's something that continues to feed me and give me new insights on a daily basis. And this was 3 years ago that I took this trip. The other takeaway from this 10-gram journey is just that all you come here to do and all you need to do in this lifetime is just be your whole, total self. That's it. There's nothing else. Just be. That's all there is you coming into this experience to expand and ascend. So that was the 10-gram experience. I tried to move through it, pretty quickly. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. As always, I love you. I'm so honored to be walking this path with every single person who is watching and resonating with any of this. May you have an ecstatic everything, everywhere with everyone. Until the next time, love you, love you, love you. Thanks for watching.